Welcome back. Continuing conversation with F. King Alexander, the president of California State University, Long Beach. King, let's talk about financial aid. You're a recognized national expert on the subject of financial aid, and you've been engaged in a big battle with the banks, and it recently had a very favorable outcome.
Well, first of all, financially, you mentioned fees. A good thing about this stimulus package is that we've never seen increases in financial aid for our students. Perhaps the biggest increase the last 2 congressional sessions. We've had Pell Grants increase from $4,100 to nearly $5,500. Students are very well protected with new forms of financial aid, new dollars that have put into the financial aid system. So to be a student in the system right now, there's no better time to be in the system because of the infusion of new dollars into the financial aid system. On the loan front, the battles with the banks has been an ongoing battle since the early 1990s, when Congress limited the number of institutions that could go to direct lending or go to the Department of Education for their loan funds.
And would that be a reflection of the political muscle and the lobbying impact of the major banks?
That's completely the case. The lobbying forces from Citibank, Sallie Mae, Bank of America went right to Congress and limited the number of institutions that could go and use the Department of Education's funds and the Department of Education's system called direct lending.
And that competes, of course, with the private lenders.
That competes with the private lenders. But what we've seen recently is that right now about 35% of the institutions are on direct lending. There's been a massive wave of institutions moving over to direct lending.
When you say institutions, you mean universities?
Universities moving over to direct lending using the Department of Education, including our own.
Which is less expensive for the students.
It's less expensive for the institutions, less expensive for the students, and in fact more money ends up in the hands of the students for the purposes that were intended, which money goes to the students for educational purposes.
So when you eliminate the commercial banks from the process, you're basically eliminating the middleman and passing the savings along to the student.
Well, let me just share with you how much that is. It's worth $10 billion a year. And over the next $10 billion, $94 billion is expected to be saved by the federal government to put into grants and Pell Grants to increase the financial aid needed for students.
So it not only saves them an interest cost, but it also provides the wherewithal for more direct
and even to make the Pell Grant an entitlement program instead of a program that's adopted every 4 or 5 years.
Some of the behavior of corporate America is really outrageous, and particularly when it impacts students, when they're trying to limit the ability of direct student loans at lower interest rates so that they can make more money. That's objectionable in and of itself, and particularly when those banks are receiving federal taxpayer bailout dollars, it's absolutely obnoxious.
It's an interesting time for us, and there's another benefit to this that most people don't fully understand. We've been trying to get changes in federal aid system to help low-cost institutions, to keep caps on aggregate loan limits so that other institutions don't frequently jack up their tuition rates and send more students into debt. Well, the banks have always been on the other side of this. They like debt. They like more debt.
It's the American way. Get people into debt, stay in debt.
And so when we actually are advocating for new policy changes now, there's going to be less of a force from the lenders that are going to be counterbalancing and counteracting the types of what I believe are progressive reforms to federal financial aid programs.
Well, thank you for leading that battle. I know it's been a long time and ongoing, and it's been pretty bloody.
It's been a messy 15 years.
Speaking of bloody, let's talk about the athletic program for a second. There's some good news here at the Long Beach State Athletic Department.
We've got a new women's basketball coach, Jody Wynn, who's going to take over our women's program. And for those that don't know, we've got the 9th winningest Division I women's program in history in the NCAA. So getting our women's basketball program back on track like we have for our men's program is important. But we've had so many other successes. Our women's tennis team for the 6th year in a row won the Big West Conference, went to the NCAA tournament. Softball, NCAA tournament. Baseball headed forward toward the NCAA tournament. We've had so many conference championships this year. And even more importantly, we had the highest academic performance ratings in the state, which means that we're not going to be sanctioned by the NCAA when other institutions are looking at sanctionable programs throughout their athletic programs. Ours continues to progress towards graduation. Our students, we've never had more students graduating from our athletic program.
That's great. And I know a program that's the linchpin of the whole athletic program and one near and dear to your heart, as a former college basketball player. Our men's basketball program, really, it turned itself around this year. The crowds were way up. I went to many of the games. The energy was there. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I saw you at many of those games, Art. We had a lot of one-point games, and it was an exciting year. We started 4 freshmen. We've got everybody back, basically. We've got a great schedule, which I believe includes Texas, Austin, Duke, Maryland. So I hope everybody gets on board early and starts packing the pyramid.
And the coach got the team to wear mindset wristbands, which is an acronym for certain principles that he teaches, and I guess those principles work.
Yes, those principles work this year, and we hope they continue to influence not only our men's basketball program, but there's spillover effects into all programs, which we all have great coaches. We have a great athletic department. Vic Seglis does a great job with our athletic program. And we have just good support, good overall support.
Well, we'll be continuing this great conversation, but first we have to pause again for these messages.